so I'm Richard Worrall, head of the Food Innovation Centre at the University of Nottingham. We set it up at about 7 years ago, and I run that, and it's all about SME support, accessing science and technology and all the information, the worldwide research knowledge to actually allow SMEs to build and grow whatever. So we got a team of 7, 3 technologists and 2 research associates. And that's what we do. We go out and see businesses and support them, advise them, and help them, hopefully.
The food sector is facing quite a few challenges. What do you think are the 2 greatest challenges?
Wow. It does depend on who you are, where you are, etc. But generally, and I don't want to be too sort of banal about it, but generally we all know that there's a short-term challenge, which is basically survival. A lot of people are in that mode, as we know. And that's all about sort of ingredients costs and energy costs and staffing costs and shortages, etc. So it is a shakeout period, isn't it? And unfortunately it's tough for a lot of people. But where we probably occasionally get a little bit fat and podgy, it's time to come down, and it will be about the stronger ones coming through. So I think that there's an initial shorter term survival challenge. I think beyond that, then there are challenges because we're changing, and I think the markets are changing, and I'm thinking particularly probably the UK and its domestic market, and you know, people's demands are changing, and we're getting more sort of aware of various things like health and nutrition and whatever. We're more aware of things like sort of buying locally because we've had to, because of two years of lockdown, etc. And those are, we'll come on to it in a minute, but those are opportunities as well, because those are the challenges that you can find solutions to, you know, in between. So yeah, I think it's almost a strategic one. I mean, you know, how do we get the kids in school eating properly, etc. So good challenges, long term.
Okay. And speaking about that, what are the opportunities then you see from these challenges for both food SMEs and enterprise educators? Yeah, well,
I think there are. I mentioned there kids. I mean, I would say again, it's a general answer, but to get hold of the children is fundamental, isn't it? We've got a project going on at the moment which is about teaching kids about, you know, nutrition and whatever in a good way, in a fun way. But they're sponges. You know, it depends what age we're talking about. They are sponges. They soak it in, don't they? And they're the ones who are the future, etc., etc. So get that base in. So I would say kids is a fabulous opportunity. Always has been. But you know, let's recognise it. There are others. There are being SMEs is actually that's an opportunity because you're more flexible. I mean, we talk to the larger producers like the Unilevers and whatever. And they almost envy, you know, being small because you can move quicker and you can actually you can tap into different markets easier as well. So that's good. And again, I think the opportunity for the support people is to really come in with solutions that are economically feasible, and to give good advice, but advice across the board. We have something. I think there's a paper written in Europe a few years ago. It was sustainable production and healthy eating. Well, that was everything from, you know, farm to fork. And there's, I think, trainers and whatever have got an opportunity to show the umbrella. A lot of SMEs they're focused and they've got heads down and whatever. And they're looking at that particular thing. But if you say, well, yeah, but have you thought of this and have you thought of that, you know? So bringing that sort of strategic view in, I think, is important. We then to try and tap into UK government strategy, if there is one. So, don't quote me on that one. But we've got to be more clever and strategic about all this, you know, so.
Speaking of the future, we're interested in the role of technology and what that can play in the food sector. What's your insights or opinions on it?
Well, yeah, so you look at it from the production side, and obviously digital manufacturing and it's huge, and we tap into that. We've got a good engineering faculty, and AI and data is in there. So the whole thing, and we're actually looking at secondary production. So I'm not talking about agri-tech in the fields. There's a huge area there where there's a lot of work going on now, agri-tech wise. But just getting technology into the factories, into the factory production process is important. But beyond that, the ways that you then sort of sell, retail, great opportunities there. And the kids, watch the kids again, because they're coming through with, as we know, doing everything on here. So how are you going to use that? And I do think you should always have kids on your board, or kids or whatever, if you can, because getting their insight and their view on stuff is, and even the teenagers and into early 20s and whatever. So don't forget them, crucial.